So I've spent a lot of time in my life caring for people that I love with serious illnesses and conditions. And so I've really been a part of that endless search that people go through for anything that might help. And as a hypnotherapist, I did have some tools that were helpful, but I felt like most of my training in this area was focused more on momentary symptom relief. So when a physician that I know said that he wanted to send some of his patients to me, I immediately felt like I really need some more training in this particular area before I work very seriously in it. And at around the same time, Eva announced that she would be offering this training in working with chronic illness with hypnotherapy and NLP. And I knew that Eva had really dedicated, the last several years of her life to learning everything she could in this area and practicing everything she could in this area. And because I've done trainings with Eva in the past, I also just know how very skilled and just very bright that she is. So I was really excited to learn from her. And I feel like it was a really excellent training. I came away with a much bigger picture idea of how to work with people with chronic illnesses rather than just sort of these dealing with symptoms. I feel like I have a much sort of bigger plan and bigger picture for working with people in this way. Another thing that I appreciated about this training is that as much as I'm open to trying almost anything myself, it really is in my nature and my professional background to have a strong bias towards evidence-based practices and towards understanding the science behind the practices that I engage in. And I live and work in the Silicon Valley, and I think that that tends to be the mindset of many people here as well, many of the people that I work with. So even though a lot of the science and evidence behind or around mind-based medicine is still evolving, I appreciated that Eva really placed a lot of emphasis in this area and provided a lot of resources and learning in this area. So I think it was a really excellent training and, would be beneficial to anybody who is working with hypnosis and NLP and wants to be working with people with chronic illness.
I took the class applying NLP and hypnotherapy to chronic illness at Mind-Based Healing because I'm really passionate about helping my clients achieve their best health. I'd had the training, the NLP training, the trance work, but this class really provided the framework on how to work with this specific group of people with chronic illness and discovering what their obstacles are to healing. This step-by-step process really gave me the confidence to market myself to this group of people. I had been wanting to expand into that area, but it felt too big for me, and I didn't have the confidence to do it. And this program really gave me that confidence. So I can now say, yes, I work with people with chronic illness to help them take control of their health. And, Eva is really passionate about this work, and it really comes through in her training, and it's contagious. And as I was learning the material, I just couldn't wait to get to use it with my clients. And it was just a lot of fun going through the program. And I recommend this training to anyone that is looking to expand their practice to work with people with chronic illness, or maybe you already do work with those individuals, and it just never hurts to get new insights and new perspectives. You'll be happy that you did it.
Well, I had a friend who was allergic, had allergies for 30 years. He couldn't even come to some of the gatherings that I was in association with. And after just a few sessions, he was completely cured of his allergy. I mean, he could walk into a room with cats, which was the big thing, and nothing. He just, and I'd always been attracted to physical-based healing, like using NLP and hypnosis, but I'd never really come to fore on it. But when I heard that, when my friend Mitchell, who's very credible in my book, say this, it was very impressive. So when I heard about her class, I decided I would do that. Mm-hmm. Eva, there's a lot of people that can teach, but they teach what they do, but they don't always know what they do enough precisely to teach it. And so the way that she taught it allowed me to really get a whole slew of information. That was great feedback. And the commitment to accepting the wholeness, that everything that we do is in service to our wholeness, was something that was very well said, well spoken, and well proved out with her organized presentation of what she does, and yet very innovative.
Yeah.
You know, very innovative. So with all my experience since '82, really, I moved up to Santa Cruz to learn that. I was reluctant because I thought, well, I know so much. I worked with somebody who was one of the, co-developers, or kind of at least founding people. And, but I was pleasantly fulfilled, by her course. I would recommend it to any NLP person, even people who are more advanced, because of how very strategically outlined and impressive the whole system, is. And I think many of us want to help people who have chronic situations, conditions, or whatever. I'm not sure that we have, we might get a hit and miss,
Right.
type of thing. But there's no hit or miss in the way that the system that she unfolds to us. I think the mind-based healing is, company, and Eva as its, founder, and is quite impressive. Just quite impressive. I have known few people that can present their ideas and actually give you a step-by-step process to do it, and have the kind of wherewithal that Eva has as a teacher, and she's fun, she's just a lot of fun. So I think I highly recommend her course to anybody.
Well, my background is engineering, electrical engineering, and for 20 years I worked for the government, and I was concerned with exterior wiring, I call it. Transformers, panel boards, outlets, lights. And I spent my career at that. And then I came across, I've always been curious with NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and hypnosis. So I arranged in about 4 years to study with Tim Halbaum, and I ran into Eva at one of those courses, and fellow students you learn so much from. And she fascinated me because of her quick mind. She'd been an architect in Europe, I'd been an engineer, and I worked with architects. So I switched, and I tell people, I used to be concerned with exterior wiring. I'm also concerned with interior wiring. So to me, it's a perfect logical match to say I do electrical engineering on the exterior, and on the interior, I do Craig engineering.
Yeah.
And so when I ran into Eva, she was a perfect mix of that intellectual pursuit of how the interior wiring works.
Yeah.
I was attracted to her and her thoughts in a lot of these classes. You pay attention to other students and you learn so much from them. So when she said she had this mind-based effort to, figure out how to deal with chronic illness and all that kind of stuff, and do a nonprofit, well, I was pretty much attracted to that whole thing. Oh, the cool approach with NLP and hypnosis, and Eva in particular, it's I used to approach problems, issues, diseases, losing money, losing a car, whatever, any kind of problem. My approach was get rid of it, kill a sucker, get it out of my life. What's this? This is a nuisance. And, as I got older, I turned 70 in June, and I've seen a lot. And so I don't know if it's mellowing or if it's maturing, or it's certainly changing the frame. Why would I ever want to kill a piece of me? So I started to see disease as a presentation with potential answers, the metaphor of it being a mentor instead of being a disease or an illness to slay. And so Eva's approach reinforced that. It was more like, here is a shadow, you know, and what is a shadow? It's a part of us that we reject, that we don't want to have anything to do with. And so I think the natural inclination for myself and other humans I've run into is turn around and run. And the farther away you get from the shadow, the smaller and smaller it gets. And so if you can't kill it, run from it.
Yeah.
And Eva's approach was stop, turn around, face the shadow, whether it's a diabetes thing or whether it's MS or whatever it is, and just ask a simple question. What's the message?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now that's a whole different ballgame. And her approach, I think, begins with that idea, giving birth to all the rest.
Right.
And so my approach, and with Eva, you know, looking at, I'm helping them to identify their mentor. And so that mentor might be manifested. And usually the mentor is way outside their paradigm. It's way outside their belief system. And in NLP terms, neuro-linguistic programming, it's outside their map. And so it takes somebody like you or me or Eva to sit with a client and to help them begin to consider what is unconsiderable. And by doing that, they begin to get answers, because, you know, the model is, if I have a messenger coming in the form of a mentor, and if I'm running away, if I'm ignoring the message, then that will land somewhere in the body in an attempt to get the message across.
Mm-hmm.
And the symptoms will probably increase and increase and increase and get so great that, okay, you know, I'm on death's door. Am I still willing to listen? No, I'm dead. Well, if any, between now and death, if there's anywhere in there that I'm willing to listen,
Yeah.
and if I have a guide and a coach to help me discover the potential messages of my mentor, my shadow, the dis-ease, then that affects the way that I approach clients. And, you know, we got the AMA types, and my interpretation of them is the body's a machine, fix the broken part, cut it out, replace it, boom, you're done.
Yeah.
And then there's the movement of functional medicine, and they've got their approach. And it's like a, you know, a three-legged tripod. And now we've got this third tripod that Eva is proposing, a nonprofit where we address mind-based approach to the same issues.